Welcome to the Light of Knowledge channel. Today, we will embark on a journey to learn about a special subject that many people believe is beyond all happiness. This is not just an investigation but a profound journey into the nature of life. Together we will explore and ask the question, what could be more advanced than happiness? It could be a new discovery about ourselves, a special piece of knowledge, or even a small action that can change the entire way we perceive happiness. Join me in starting this journey and discovering the world of beautiful spiritual values that we can find in everyday life. Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on interesting shares, and let's share this journey together on the path to finding profound meaning. Together we will discover something superior to happiness. Buddha Shakyamuni once said, "Where there is joy there is peace. Give up the former to gain the latter." If we divide the levels and add to his saying, there will exist 3 levels from low to high. 1 is pleasure, 2 is happiness, 3 is peace. As can be seen, happiness is inserted in the middle, because happiness is separated from joy to make it easier to analyze and help you visualize more clearly. First, pleasure belongs to instinct, to instinctive physiology. It is the lowest and most superficial form of energy. It could be sex, food cravings, or stimulating activities in life. Joy always depends on the outside, and people are slaves of joy. You will depend on someone, as long as they give you love and stimulation, or depend on material goods, as long as it satisfies your ego and makes it happy. Pleasure not only teaches you cunning and cleverness, guiding you to exploit others for personal gain, while utilizing someone is deemed as a ruthless act. A wife may use her husband for financial security, and a husband may use his wife for personal sexual needs. Most individuals have a hidden agenda when forming connections and building intimacy with others. Pleasure empowers you to dominate and exploit others under the guise of love and care. You derive satisfaction from manipulating and controlling others at your whim. Mothers control their children, fathers dictate their offspring's futures without truly considering what they genuinely need. Therefore, nearly the entire world is chasing after pleasure, including celebrities and renowned figures. Billions are spiraling downwards, perpetually trapped there, collectively contributing to turning this world into a burial ground of conflict, exploitation, and war. You will become a slave or a dictator if you keep pursuing temporary pleasures and happiness, when those things are just temporary. Whether sooner or later, they will eventually pass. Nothing can exist permanently, and you will have to seek something more intriguing, caught in an endless loop. Pleasure is the binding chain, perpetually constraining you, holding your soul captive as it exerts control over your entire life, driving you to chase external pursuits. Therefore, pleasure is certainly not the purpose of life. Secondly, you need to pay attention to happiness, something distinct from pleasure. Pleasure is a physiological level, while happiness is psychological. Happiness seems to carry more profound meanings and is somewhat more refined and valuable, as perceived by humanity. Happiness goes beyond mere sensory pleasures like indulging in physical comforts. It strives for ideals, beauty, and elegance. Happiness brings spiritual richness when you create moral values or dedicate yourself to society. Happiness helps you become more autonomous, guiding the world towards values of truth, goodness, and beauty, contributing to the building of a better and more civilized world. However, whether it is happiness or pleasure, both originate from a common root, belonging to the needs and instincts of humans. Pleasure is the most primitive instinct, the child within the human, while happiness seems to be more cultural and refined, akin to a privilege bestowed upon the person part. It can be said that pleasure is the lowest level of happiness and happiness is the peak of pleasure. Of course, happiness is short-lived. It still needs conditions to activate and only last for a certain period of time. It is not permanent, so no one can be happy from morning to night, this year after year without suffering. Happiness, sadness is always divided, and your mood will swing like a pendulum endlessly between these two extremes. You will not be able to feel safe and peaceful even though your mood is always fluctuating and changing. Therefore, happiness is still not the final destination of life. When it divides, it can tear apart your insides if you're not careful. Most people will stop and be satisfied at this level after realizing more meaningful things that go beyond ordinary pleasures, but they still fall into the initial trap of having reached the peak, rest in peace in it, and will be extremely satisfied. I will call this happiness temporary, not true happiness, that people need to aim for, because there is still the miracle of creation and the universe appearing around us. Because there is still another, high-class, existence. That high-class existence is peace, the pinnacle of life. Peace is an extremely difficult feeling to have. Peace only comes when you reach the deepest point of life. Only when your ego disappears forever will it be considered that you no longer exist. Buddha called it nirvana. The cessation of existence is nirvana. At that time, you are completely empty like the sky. The moment you reach that infinite state, your soul is filled with the light of the stars. Life becomes strangely new. You have been born again. Joy and happiness are very short-lived, they are measured in time, they are just a moment of life. But peace is endless, it is endless. Joy binds, turns people into slaves. Happiness frees people a little from the chains, but only a little. Pleasure makes people dependent. Happiness brings a little autonomy, but not complete freedom. Joy and happiness have a beginning and an end. But peace is eternal. Joy and happiness come and go, peace and joy come forever and also leave forever. Joy makes you a slave, happiness gives you a little more wealth. And peace makes you take control of your soul and life. Therefore, peace will be what humanity needs to aim for, little by little every day. Go beyond pleasure to taste the sweetness of happiness, then escape the remaining bondage to achieve complete peace and happiness. Peace always exists within you, you just don't realize it. Peace also exists in all species, in creatures that do not have very complex brains like us humans. Look at the birds and flowers, are they peaceful? They will always chirp and smell all day because they were born that way. Creatures other than humans are not conscious, so they will always be unconsciously peaceful. They do not seek peace, do not strive to eliminate the self that exists naturally, because they do not have a self, do not know suffering, have no desires and no longer have a self. There is no other choice but to live peacefully. Because there is no consciousness like humans, human consciousness and desires lead people down the path of suffering. If you keep chasing your personal desires, you will never be happy. Only when we learn to know enough, something everyone advises each other, can we lower personal desires to the unconscious level, elevate simple joy and happiness into peace, into true happiness. Real, like a bird or a flower, so that from that stillness will bring us to peace. When ego and desires no longer exist, we will feel eternal happiness, another name for peace, because then we have no other choice, just like birds and flowers. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. If you found it helpful and enjoyable, please don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and share your thoughts in the comment section. We appreciate your support and hope you'll continue to join us in the upcoming videos. Thank you, and see you again soon.